All right, let's set the scene. I want you to picture this, a vast Mesopotamian night. And the sky, it's not just dark, it's alive. It's this living tapestry of light, a celestial map. And right there, standing underneath it all, is a Brahma. We're talking about the master astrologer of his generation. I mean, this guy knows the constellations like the back of his hand. He can read the planets, the whispers of the stars, and to him, this cosmic clockwork isn't just some beautiful light show. It's the law. It's the source code of destiny itself. But, tonight, something's different. Beyond all that familiar light, there's another light. A higher, unseen light that starts to call to him. A signal coming from completely outside the system he spent his entire life mastering.
And then, this is the call. The famous first words of a journey that would literally change everything. The Lord said to Abram, Lech Lecha, go forth. Now, on the surface, it sounds pretty straightforward, right? Pack your bags, leave your home, start walking. But what does go forth really mean? Well, the mystics tell us it's a journey that's way, way deeper than any map could ever show. These two little words, they contain a secret of cosmic significance. They aren't just an instruction to go somewhere else geographically, but a command to become someone else entirely.
So to really get what a revolution this command was, we first have to understand the world Abram was living in. This was a world governed not by random chance, but by these unchangeable celestial laws. A world of absolute predictable fate written right there in the stars. A complex and powerful system the ancients called Mazal.
Okay, so the key to everything in Abram's world is this concept of Mazal. Now today, we might casually translate that as luck, but back then, it was pretty much the opposite of luck. It was a precise, deterministic system. The Zohar explains that our physical world is actually governed by this whole spiritual infrastructure, a matrix, if you will, made up of 12 constellations and 7 major planetary influences. Everything, and I mean everything, from the rise and fall of empires, to the weather, to the destiny of a single person was believed to be tied to the predictable, clockwork movements of these celestial bodies. You were born under a certain sign, at a certain hour, and boom, your destiny was set in stone. And this is where we get to the heart of Abram's existential crisis. As the greatest astrologer of his time, he had, of course, read his own cosmic chart. He'd looked at the data, he'd run all the celestial calculations, and the results were, well, they were crystal clear. The stars, the very system of Mazal he knew so well, declared that he and his wife Sarai were barren. Their destiny was sealed. For a man whose entire worldview was built on this system, this wasn't just a prediction, it was a fact, as real as a mountain. There was no appeal, no higher court. This system had spoken, and that was that.
But then comes the call that shatters this entire worldview. It's a command that offers a path not within the system, but completely out of it. It's a command to go not just to a new place, but to a new self, revealing this hidden dimension of reality that Abram, for all his cosmic wisdom, had never even seen before. It's a call to leave the predictable and enter the possible.
You see, the Zohar, the foundational text of Kabbalah, just peels back the surface layer of the text here. It explains that the Hebrew Lech Lecha is actually reflexive. So a much more accurate translation is, go to you, or as some mystics say, go to yourself. And that is the secret. The journey isn't outward, it's inward. The call was never about changing his zip code, it was about fundamentally changing his essence. It was an invitation to find a deeper self, a core identity that existed before and totally independent of his astrological profile.
And the Zohar doesn't just hint at this, it says it outright. It makes it totally explicit. The command, Lech Lecha, it says, means go out from your astrology. I mean, what a radical thing to say. It means abandon your reliance on this external, predictive system. Stop defining yourself by the patterns you see in the sky. Stop believing that your past determines your future. There's another source of reality, a higher providence, and if you want to access it, you first have to unplug from the old one.
To really wrap our heads around this paradigm shift, let's translate it into a language we all speak today, tech. Think of Abram's astrology as a super sophisticated predictive analytics engine. It crunches massive amounts of data, the positions of the stars, to predict outcomes with really high accuracy. It's powerful, sure, but it can only guess based on the data that's already in its system. The command Lech Lecha was like being given root access to the main server. It's an invitation to bypass all the APIs, all the predictive models, and plug directly into the core source code of reality itself. I mean, why predict the future based on old data when you can get the power to write the code for a new one? Okay, maybe you're not a tech person. How about video games? Imagine Abram was playing a character in a massive RPG, and his character sheet, written by the stars, had this permanent debuff, childless. Now, he was an expert player, he knew all the rules, all the mechanics, all the exploit loops, but he was still stuck, bound by the James code. Lech Lecha was the game master opening a direct, unmediated command channel. It's an invitation to stop playing by the rules and start co-creating the game itself, unlocking new levels of reality, new abilities that weren't even on the original map.
So if Abram is getting root access, or a direct line to the game master, how does he actually do it, right? How do you just leave behind an entire reality and access a new one? It's not just a matter of saying, I believe. The mystical sources describe it as a precise, almost mechanical process. It's about upgrading your entire internal operating system. You see, the old OS, the system of Mazal, it was external, it was deterministic, and it was essentially read-only. It just told you what your fate was. This new OS, it's internal, it's dynamic, and it grants you right access to your own destiny. And this new framework is known in Kabbalah as the Sephirot. Now, these are not just abstract philosophical ideas, they are a functional blueprint for consciousness, a step-by-step guide to rectifying the self and aligning with a higher reality.
Okay, let's walk through this internal upgrade, this path of transformation. It all starts with chokmah, or wisdom. This is that first spark, that aha moment. For Abram, it's the instant he realizes that his perfected system of astrology, his wisdom, has a ceiling. It's complete, but it's not the whole story. Then comes Bina, understanding. Here he goes deeper. He doesn't just toss out the old way, he analyzes it, deconstructs it, and truly gets why it's limited. He sees the gears of the machine and realizes he is more than that machine. Now the pivotal moment is da'at, which means connection. This isn't just knowing something, it's an active attachment. This is the moment Abram latches onto that new call, that higher source, and consciously detaches from his reliance on the stars. From there, he moves into Tiferet, which is realignment. He starts to harmonize his entire being, his thoughts, his emotions, his actions, with this new direct path. And finally, the whole process culminates in Malkut, or embodiment. This is where the internal upgrade shows up on the outside. He begins to live as a new person, making a destiny real that was totally impossible according to the old code.
You know, you can really see this shift as a kind of radical simplification. Abram's old world was this complex dance of the many, the 12 constellations, the 7 planetary spheres, all pulling in different directions. His journey was about moving from that complex web of the 12 and the 7 to the profound unity of the One. He basically collapsed all those external variables into a single direct connection to the source of reality itself.
We can even map this spiritual journey through the language of color. He starts in the cool, logical blue of the predictable cosmos, that clear night sky he knew so well. But the command to leave plunges him into the black of the unknown, the void, the terror, and the absolute thrill of stepping off the map into a reality with no rules he recognizes. Then a breakthrough, the brilliant white light of pure potential, the color of chesed, or loving kindness, a connection that exists beyond all systems. And finally, he arrives at green, embodying this new reality, creating life and growth and fertility where, before, none was possible.
So let's put all this together with one final analogy, this one from cosmic engineering. The Mazal system is like a rigid application that runs on predictable external data feeds. The path of Lech Lecha is a full system migration. It's moving from being a user of the application to gaining direct kernel-level access to your own being. And this grants you root privileges. You're no longer just running the software of your personality. You now have the ability to access and rewrite its most fundamental functions, to change the very core of how you operate.
Now, I know this all sounds incredibly abstract, right? But for Abram, the results were anything but. The proof of this internal system migration was a tangible, undeniable change in his external reality. A change that proved his old destiny had been completely and utterly overwritten.
And the Zohar states the result with this profound, stunning simplicity. Abram does not father, Abraham fathers. That isn't just a clever play on words. It's a statement of cosmic law. It's saying that the entity known as Abram, the person operating on that Mazal OS, was fundamentally incapable of having a child. The entity known as Abraham, the one running the new OS of direct divine connection, he was. A new cause creates a new effect. It's as simple as that.
And the mechanism for this incredible change was the change in his name. The addition of the Hebrew letter He, transforming Abram to Abraham, wasn't just symbolic like getting a new nickname. In Kabbalah, letters are the building blocks of creation. They're the raw code of reality.
So adding the letter He, a letter that represents the divine presence and the flow of creative energy, was a literal code injection into his spiritual DNA. It was a functional upgrade that overwrote the old stellar fate with a brand new, divinely sourced potential.
So when you pull all of this together, Abram's journey reveals 4 profound principles about our own reality. First, destiny is not some fixed sentence. It's a mutable code, and it can be rewritten. Second, and this is so critical, internal transformation always comes before external change. You have to install the new OS before you can run new programs. Third, a direct connection to the source can bypass any and all intermediate deterministic systems. And finally, sometimes the smallest change, a single character, a single shift in your consciousness, can rewrite your entire story.
You know, this ancient story isn't just some historical curiosity. The reason it has resonated for thousands of years is because it contains a universal blueprint for liberation. It's a call that echoes for each and every one of us, right here, right now.
Abraham's physical journey from Ur of the Chaldees, which literally means Ur of the astrologers, is the archetypal map for our own journey. We all have an Ur to leave behind. We all have a deterministic system, an astrology of our own making, that defines and confines us.
So the question really becomes, what is your personal Ur of the Chaldees? What's the system of Mazal that's dictating your fate? Is it the limiting beliefs you inherited from your family? You know, our family is just not good with money. Or we've never had a successful artist. Is it a career path that was defined by someone else's expectations for you? Maybe it's your own internal data model, built on past failures that constantly predicts future failure. Or is it the astrology of your own past experiences, which you allow to write the unchangeable laws of your future?
Just like Abraham, we all receive a call to leave the safety of what we know, the comfort of our predictable fate, and to embark on that terrifying, exhilarating journey inward. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What is the one framework, the one predictive model, the one astrology you are being called to leave behind in order to truly go to yourself?
That is the journey of Lech Lecha. Thank you so much for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes.
We really hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.